Welcome to Moments of Clarity, where we are going to have a candid conversation around things that relate to an exit probability based on your profitability in your business. Today is Saturday, and we are excited to have three great guests on our channel talking all about the things that make the biggest differences in your business. I am Amanda the Fix It Queen. I am a strategist when it comes to building your business in a way that is exitable. And we'll talk about what that means, as well as scalable. And as we bring on our guests, I look forward to sharing with you their expertise and, moreover, how it's going to benefit you. Because oftentimes I find that business owners think that starting a business, getting an LLC, and then going out into the community means that they're in business. But we have a few things to share with you that'll add and expand upon what truly creates a business separate from the person that started it, and how exactly the person that started it is going to get to a point of exit and making real profit in a way that's perpetual, in a way that's sustainable. So without further ado, let me introduce to you our guests for today. We have our one and our only Jordan Powell, who is in our on-demand department resources, and he helps our clients achieve performance consistently. He is what I call an operational strategist. He has moved from the field of wearing tools straight into the operations and administration to understand really what it looks like to be within a business that is moving towards a systematic approach. And I say systematic because businesses are nothing but processes and systems, meaning the softwares that they run off of. And as he's helping businesses in real time, he's going to share some insight with you guys about the things that really stunt business growth, and as well as things that create an extreme halt when you're making changes and you're unwilling to make those changes for the greater good of the business. So I look forward to having him come in and share with us some key points that he can see from working within these businesses as we help them turn around. And as we talk about that turnaround, we're very much about the beginning stages of building a business from the ground up, and Jordan will have some things to share with you about that. And we're gonna precede that right now to what we're gonna end in a post conversation with our one and only Nathan Wheeler, who is a certified exit planning advisor and financial strategist. He is going to help you with what I call the caboose side. If Jordan and I are going to discuss the beginning stages and the engine that drives the train down the track, Nathan's going to come behind at the end of this discussion with a finite point of how to leverage the profitability that we are going to help you understand how to protect, which brings me to our third guest, who is Tony Panasuk, and he is a tax strategist like no other. He has been in the CFO or financial planning hats, as well as a CPA and a former IRS tax audit agent. So where he comes in is in the middle of that train pulling through, where he's going to be able to help you understand how to shield and how to protect the profit that you're building, as Jordan and I share with you how to create or how to bring more value into your business in a way that makes the profit that Tony's going to share with you guys how to protect, and then Nathan's going to share with you guys how to expand and how to grow and diversify, or what we call how to exit and grow that profitability. So thank you, gentlemen, for joining me today. Today is Saturday, February 28th. We are having a Moments of Clarity and Candid conversation about the most important pillars of business and what stunts their growth. So welcome, and thank you very much for joining me today in this conversation.
It's our pleasure.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Not a problem. You're welcome. So as our guests are watching us, they are curious because our headline is very clear. We are here to talk about the three profit killers. We can't do anything to protect their profit. We can't do anything to grow or to diversify that profit until we create it. So I'm curious if you guys wouldn't mind sharing with me in an overview what you feel the three top profit killers are from your perspective, having dealt with business owners over the tenure of your professions. And I'll start out with you, Nathan, because you're the caboose on helping them get to a point of using that profit for growth. And working with your different clients in their exit planning, what things or what three things do you think are are killers to even having profit to grow?
Yeah, and it's obviously going to be different. Different situations. What I've come to learn is finance is a very independent thing, but I guess in general, when we're talking about business, some of the big killers that we see are, uncontrolled overhead, right? So, most businesses will have a little bit, the overhead that they have in place. As again, whether it's too much, too little, it's not being used. It's depending on the business. It may not be effectively managed. And so I see uncontrolled overhead being a major killer. Pricing and positioning failures can be another big, a big killer when it comes to, what it is they're working to build. And then operational inefficiency and waste. Now I say that again from like a business standpoint, but also my brain, like especially as a certified exit planning advisor, I don't look at just the business. I look at the personal individual aspect of it too, because obviously one of the issues that we see is most business owners keep 80% of their assets within the business, right? And that's not very effective. So outside of that, I'd say taxes are a big hit, right? Loss due to market volatility. Like, how is your money growing for you? Where is it at? Debt is a big one, right? Depending on where we have our assets and whether or not we can access those to eliminate debt. Death is a huge one. This is one a lot of business owners don't think about. It's like, hey, what happens to my business if something happens to me? And so having something in place to make sure that it's either sustainable by the remaining partners in business or maybe their family, like whatever it may be. Again, these situations are they're personal and individualistic. But then even outside of that, the number one cause of poverty and bankruptcy in this country is medical expenses related to chronic, critical, and terminal illness. So again, just kind of in alignment with some of those things, it's like, hey, if the business owner isn't taken care of, if we don't have a proper protection and a structure in place to support the individual, then we're leaving significant risk to the business. And so again, depending on which angle we're looking at, there are different things that I'd say contribute to that factor.
Wow, wow. You have said more than a mouthful, Nathan. And luckily, all of our viewers are going to get a replay link so they could digest this in a measure and really identify some of those key points. And going back to the three core or the three largest profit killers that you mentioned uncontrolled overhead. You've mentioned pricing and positioning. You've mentioned operational inefficiency. And those initial three are cornerstones to sinking your business battleship. It is absolutely a value add when you are aligning to the very things that we see as turnaround consultants within our programs, working with business owners relating to uncontrolled spending, relating to pricing, and just being able to charge enough. I often see business owners, they struggle with what I call the worthiness bone. They're not sure how to price themselves. They're not sure if internally their heart says they can go and capture that dollar amount. And oftentimes I have to share with them, you are not buying your services, they are. So when you wear your broken worthiness bone on the outside and you change your pricing and positioning based on if you were your own client, you're automatically rolling out in a handicap. So these are some of the things that I'm so glad that you touched based on. I imagine that they align deeply with some of the things that Jordan will have to share regarding the three profit killers that he's seen as a in the trench teammate as we work and deploy our team within these companies to help them with their operations and with changes and adjustments, which goes directly to your operational inefficiencies. As bring more value comes in, we help them refine, implement, and adapt and master a systematic approach. Jordan, I'm going to pivot to you because I think this segues great into some of the things you might have to share relating to the three profit killers that you've seen working within these accounts and within these contracting businesses as we go to bank their business profitability in a way that Tony can help protect it. So share with me, Jordan, 3 things that you have seen or that you feel are profit killers.
Yeah, definitely. Touching on the topic that Nathan was talking about as far as being the personable side of the business, the individual of the business. I've noticed a lot of the issues I correlate back to the mentality of a person because that's where it all stems from. Some of the 3 issues I've seen common across past accounts and current accounts. One of the big ones is a refusal to change personally. They are the one at the helm, and a lot of the times I come across a belief in owners that this is what got me here. They lose sight on you're here, you're not there. So understanding that it's a change needs to take place in oneself in order to change the business, and most business owners don't see that. Another pain point or killer of profits I've seen is a refusal to take responsibility. A lot of the time, once a business is going, they see it as the problems that happen in the business are the business's problems, not theirs. They're very much quick to take the acclaim when the business is doing well, but when something like misappropriated spending on materials, accounts, bonuses, even, then it seems that it's not their fault. It's not their job. It's not their responsibility anymore. And one of the last things I would say I've seen is using the company as a personal piggy bank. And a lot of the times, the attitude that comes with it is, I deserve it. So they feel like just because, as you say, you bring a business to market, you bring it to your community, you feel that you've done something that, in turn, you deserve whatever you want out of your business. You've taken the next step as a business owner, but now there are many more steps in running the business. It's not over at the beginning, and a lot of the time they lose sight of the end game, of what the finish line looks like.
Wow. Man, you hit on some key things there. And I know you know because as you are one of our teammates that's literally in the trench wearing their jerseys, filling gaps within their organization they didn't know they need filled or didn't feel were a priority. One of the biggest things that you had mentioned, which it strikes me because here we are having moments of clarity. You mentioned their mental state. The mental state of a business owner is so crucial in order for it to make any decisions that outweigh their own fear to help benefit the business and benefit the team within the business. Where they sit mentally and in their belief is such a core thing. So a profit killer, absolutely, which is where I deeply align, is what is the mental, I guess, hemorrhage going on. And I say hemorrhage because these are thoughts or words that ruminate. They just echo over and over again. As we've worked with clients and contractors that are swimming against a current of their own fear, their own restrictions. Oh, you mentioned, what got me here is what got you there is not going to get you to where you're going. So you could work with Nathan. So you could work, and this is where we call the teeter totter from nano and micro small business into mid and large business, where we are doing things systematically. We're doing things with an approach that create consistency. And what I love is transparency. To build a team, you must be vulnerable enough to share the truth, to share the performance, not well, I call an ego field perspective where you're projecting because you're hiding behind. And that goes to the mental state and their willingness to have some growth, have some personal growth. Business is not, we'll just say, a stage for people to hide behind their trauma, but their trauma often is the driving factor that kills their profit. So I love the things that you have stated relating to bonuses. And my goodness, you couldn't have segued to Tony in a plant. This is all, again, everybody that's watching, this is a dynamic conversation, a candid conversation. And Jordan, you said using it as their personal piggy bank makes me, it creates a visual, because oftentimes I do see employee mindset moving into entrepreneurial journey, and they're going from dealing with, tens and hundreds of dollars to 10,000 and hundred thousands of dollars. And they feel this falsified cushion of access to capital, and they start using the money in ways that don't create sustain and future planning, or what Nathan might refer to as exit planning, to be intentional with the revenue coming in. Just because it hit the bank doesn't mean it's profit yet. We got to get to the end of the year. And that's where Tony comes in and helps people identify the areas of compliance. So Tony has such experience delivering from startups all the way to running multi-million and billion-dollar budgets for the military. So there's a spectrum of accountability, transparency, consistency, and we'll just say honoring the logic of the way financial cash flow patterns work. So Tony, as we're talking about this, I'm so curious from your perspective, what you feel from the financial, from a tax strategist and a CFO professional. What do you feel are the three killers that you see in a pattern of a business? Can you share with
You
us?
bet. You bet, Amanda. Thank you. Jordan and Nathan brought up some great points, and they were all. Jordan's point was you can't use your company as a piggy bank, but if you set up the entity, convert it over to a S corporation from an LLC. An LLC is only for asset protection. It's not a great tax planning entity, and strategies are limited with LLCs. So to that end, I would recommend and talk about with your tax planner the conversion over to a S corporation. S corporations, as you all know, it reduces your self-employment tax of 15.3%. And the wages are paid out of the S corporation. To that end, you can pay for your health insurance premiums out of your S corporation as long as you add that in as part of your wages in the S corporation. So there's and then you can take it as a deduction as well. So you get a win-win situation where the S corporation pays for the health insurance premiums for your family, and then you also get big tax reductions as well. And as Nathan said, the major cause of bankruptcies are medical expenses. So you have to plan to not expose yourself to that personal liability on the medical expenses. So that's one of my thoughts, is that convert your LLC, which is an asset protection entity, not so good for tax purposes, and convert it over to a S corporation, and you'll be amazed at how much self-employment taxes that you can save and reduce your taxable income that you report to the IRS.
I love that. I love that. So you are hitting on more of the left brain side of structure and logic, which, as we go over and bring more value, these 6 core fundamentals, we touch base on organizational structure in course number 4. But as you're talking about it, it makes a huge difference that we're not just talking about asset protection. We're talking about tax planning. And you mentioned something that was crucial in all success, which is communicating to people in your team. Teammates aren't just W-2 employees. They are your outside advisors.
Right.
They are the people that have been there and know more and can guide you in a way to plan the flow of cash coming through your business before it runs over the rocks. So that way it could get all the way to the end of the pool, where Nathan can then help diversify and protect and plan more with that. But if you're not talking to your tax planner, maybe then you need to have a discussion with our team, with Tony.
Yeah, you can't.
If you're not, Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, Amanda, and you can't wait until year end. You should be having
Oh,
these
yeah.
conversations early on in the tax year, January,
Yes.
February, March timeframe.
I would even go.
That's essential. That's essential to get set up so you can take advantage of all of these tax breaks and tax savings benefits early on and throughout the year, so that you can increase the amount of money that you put into your pocket.
Agreed. Thank you for touching base on that, because that's exactly where I was going. Communicating ahead of the curve is where we're going to bank the curve with the most outcome. And as we're talking about the three killers, you've touched base on several things in terms of structure and asset protection, as well as again communicating to the advisors that are going to help guide you. So if you're watching this and anything is hitting you in curiosity, message out to us, because our goal is to afford time in a way to create more clarity. Okay. Clarity is where you're going to make a forward step without hesitation. When you know the plan, you can move expeditiously and you can hit things in the right timing. It doesn't mean things are always going to go as planned, but it does mean that your chances of hitting those goals, whether they be financially driven or they be performance driven, where they're dealing with, one of our clients, we had a discussion yesterday and they were talking about systems and going from invoicing tools, and that has nothing to do with, the financial deposit records. It has to do with adopting a protocol and something that will help track the performance. So when I'm thinking about it, consistency and systems, they lead to profit, just as the ticker says. And without that consistency and that pre-planning, I love the fact that you touched base on communicating to your tax advisor, because a lot of people think tax people are for the end of the year. No, they're for the beginning of the year. And if you've been to the mental reset summit, the summit that we have that in November, because we're doing tax planning and we're doing strategic planning and forecasting in November for the next year. We're not waiting, we're pre-planning. And when you can tell the story of your future, it's going to become a deja vu and memory of something of your past, and it's going to feel good. So thank you, gentlemen, for sharing those tidbits, those killers. They align with everything that we teach within our fundamental principles and the things that we guide our contractors and service professionals to implement every single day. And that's the thing, it's a daily practice. Going back to the mind, a lot of people think, oh, they go to a course, they go to a weekend seminar. Well, they get back to the office on Monday and nothing changes, because it takes intention and consistency to create the clarity that drives the mission forward. So such key information that you guys have shared, which segues to where I love the outcome to change, which is, what are three things that you guys can share with our viewers to help them achieve success, to help them bring more value to their organization? And we'll just continue the circuit the way it is. Nathan, I'm curious, from your experience dealing with business owners, not just advising them where the pitfalls are that they could step into that might create a performance issue, but where do you see, or what three things could you share to help them gain profit and help them make more available resources that you could then work with them in their future planning with?
That's a tough question. Like, to just narrow it down to three, like,
oh man,
that's
yeah.
tough, dude. Like, hey, like, what can we do to like make our lives better? Like, obviously, my first thing goes to mindset, dude. Believe sooner. Have belief in what you're doing and what you're capable of. I mean, that's one of the things that I see limiting people so often, is like they just don't believe that they can do it. And even taking a step back, and I'll try to keep it within my lane, because like there's so many different directions that I could take that. But a lot of people, their wealth identity isn't in alignment with what they want to accomplish. Like, their wealth identity is down here. They want to make big money. They want to be responsible for that type of, income and having that lifestyle and all the things that you can accomplish when you're successful. But their wealth identity is stuck in the past. It's stuck with the person that they were rather than the person that they need to become. And here's the thing. You're not going to become the person who makes X amount of dollars, whatever your target goal is, if you stay the same person that was making X amount of dollars over here. So there's a huge identity shift that needs to occur. You literally have to shape your identity around who you intend to become. And that's just a fact. And so that's, I'd say, the biggest thing that any business owner can do is like, just get in alignment with who you want to become. You've got to do that and shape your identity around that. Now, and let me do me a favor and re-ask the question, because that's a big, like that right there, by the way, if people will embrace that right there, your entire existence will shift. If you can learn to shape your identity around who you intend to become, your existence is vastly different just by that one shift. And I'm sorry, can you please ask the question?
No, I will ask the question, but I also want to commend you in your lane. Your lane financially. So what you are talking about in terms of the identity is what I call stepping into the future that you're moving towards. And if you are not in alignment with that person and that identity, you are creating a bollard, a wall that is impenetrable because you don't see yourself as them, meaning as you later. Yeah. So yes, I really commend you. And there is no lane. We are here to share the 3 most valuable success drivers, and getting clear with your identity, telling yourself over and over again that you're, just a lead technician, that you're just an electrician, you're just a plumber. No, you're not. You're a business mogul in the blue collar world. Change what you're saying to yourself. So that is the question for you to share the 3 most valuable success drivers. And I will commend you in your first being a pillar, being a without that cornerstone, it is almost an impossible feat because you must acquiesce to a shift in your mind. And we have some things that we'll share with our audience that will help them achieve that in an accelerated manner. But yes, the question is, what are the 3 most valuable success drivers? And number 1, which I believe that might be synonymous with our panel here, is your identity.
Yeah.
Who the hell are you?
Yeah.
Be who you want to be now, because now is all there is. Tomorrow never comes. Yesterday you can't change. So if you can step into that and every day ask yourself, how close am I to the person I see myself being, and then work towards closing that gap, you're going to achieve the success. So yeah, identity as one of the most valuable success drivers. Hit it, nail on the head, impact driver, straight down the middle. I really appreciate that.
For sure. And I that's in business, that's one of the most important things you do now. I've got to just be transparent about me too. Like, when it comes to that identity shift, and this is the thing that's changed my life drastically as far as where I'm at, it was getting in alignment with God. And so that's a huge part of that identity. And so whatever that looks like for you, something that's a higher power or higher authority to you, I think that's essential, right? And so I can't stress that enough. When we talk about identity, I've got to bring up that relationship that we have with our Father in heaven. But then past that, like, let's just unpack a little bit more. What's another thing that drives success, especially in a team environment? And I imagine the people on this call have a team, right? To some degree, I'd say getting in alignment with the vision, right? Be clear on where you're going, be clear on that direction. So we talked about doing that personally, like getting in alignment with you personally, but now you've got to do it on a team level. Now you've got to do it with the entire organization. I remember in the military, we'd always say the SOP is not an SOP unless everybody knows it. So let's translate that to what we're talking about here. If you don't have a clear vision as to where you're going, and the people in your team and organization don't see how they play a role in the success of that vision, then you're not realizing your potential. So get in alignment with you, and then really get in alignment with the team and make sure that everybody understands where they're going and the role that they play, so that they can feel like they're a part of something greater, that they know they're doing something worth doing and contributing to the overall mission of the organization. That's very important when it comes to success, especially within a team and organization, right? Be transparent, lay it out, have a clear vision, mission, and values, and make sure that everybody can articulate what that is. Because look, if your vision's like this intricate paragraph, page, book type thing, nobody's going to be able to talk about that. You go and ask somebody on your team what the vision is. You want them to be able to say what it is. And again, help them feel that they were a part of that. And so if it's long and kind of drawn out, I think that'll be challenging. So I get in alignment with you, get in alignment with the team. And then the last thing that I would say in relation to success, and I think the answer to this depends on how we define success, right? So it's hard for me to like put a pin in that one, because what success looks like for one person may not be what success looks like for another. So if we're talking from a monetary standpoint, I would say, hey, understand the rules of the game so you can play to win. How does money grow? How are we taxed on that growth? How do we preserve our wealth? How do we strategize? How do we look at the bigger picture and make sure that everything that we're doing is moving in the direction that we need it to, and that as we do that, it's all protected most effectively? Right. So that from a wealth standpoint, that might be how I look at it. Like, hey, success for me is wealth, but for success, like for other people, success may be, hey, I want to be at home with my family. I want to be present. And then so the success driver might be, do we have duplicatable systems in place so that we have a system of leaders that develop leaders? Right. So it really depends on how we define success as to what might be that third factor. But I think the first two are unquestionable. And that last one, again, determines on how we define success.
That was amazing. As you are amazing. I can't wait to connect people to you and to not only just the skills that you carry to help them in their exit journey, but just for who you are in your heart, in your passion that drives you to do the hard things. One of the things when we're talking about, identity and vision and getting clear and understanding the rules, okay, the rules of the game take you going against the grain. It takes a mental fortitude for you to do the things that are not the norm. Because let's just face it, the majority of people do not practice self-control, which is where Jordan was talking about the excess piggy bank spending. Self-control takes, we'll just say, intention, and knowing the rules of the game will help you commit to self-control. Once you understand how this leverage game works and how diversification works and how you can take a monetization, we'll just call it a vehicle, and you can get it to start perpetuating revenue, which isn't wealth. Okay, I know a lot of business owners that have been in business for 30 plus years and they are still generating cash flow, but they have no wealth. They did not deflect, reserve, and perpetuate that wealth in a non-participation manner, right? A passive income manner. So you are touching base on so many things, identity being the core acronym of NMA. And what are you doing here? NMA. What does that even mean? Maybe I shouldn't say this, maybe I should, but I'm going to be transparent. It means no more assholes. We don't want to work with them. We don't want to work for them. We don't want to be held in a collar of an expectation. One of our clients said to us, oh, this is so great. Oh, Jordan, you're going to laugh at this one. One of our past clients said to us, we were doing the turnaround consulting situation. We had 60 days of performance observation, and we started banking the performance. And then they started bucking the system and self-sabotage. And as we were talking with them about accountability, they were belligerent and they were swearing. And we told them, hey, in our business model, we desire and we deserve respect and communication in a way that's respectable. And he leaned in and said, did you guys forget who's paying you? And I'm thinking, oh, NMA, baby, NMA. I wash my hands, because you cannot bring people in to support your organization if you're not willing to change the way, number one, you treat people. Your integrity is the most important factor. It doesn't matter what you wear or how much money you have. The way you treat people, and when you command that, you must give it first. You can't demand it without reciprocation. So yes, I think very much knowing the rules of the game and being onerous and not being pompous or arrogant to think that you know the rules of the game is important, because it'll cause you to move differently in your business and to treat people differently, because you understand reciprocity and you understand the connection that all things are connected, and you can't sever something based on your own ego and your own area of feeling that you're an expert when you are just in what we call in the leadership module an appointed leader means you're unqualified, but you just started a business and said, I'm the king, but you really are just an appointed leader. So those are some of the things that I think about as you were talking about. Your passion is absolutely off the charts, Nathan. That's why I wanted to have you aboard, just meeting you in person and having our conversations on the side. So thank you for sharing those 3 valuable success drivers. I am curious what that sparks in Jordan from his angle of the 3 things, as you are an operational strategic person, helping these people go from dysfunction to function in a way that allows them to invite more people into their business. What are the 3 success drivers that you could state that will help contractors, electricians, plumbers grow a team? What are those three drivers that you think, Jordan, are valuable?
Yeah, definitely. In my experience, it's almost like it wings off and they forget the purpose of even having implemented these protocols. And it becomes unimportant to them. And so the implementation of protocols and systems is important, but I would say just as important is practicing those protocols with discipline from the top to the bottom. Secondarily, I would say, going back to like Nathan was saying, a team. The cohesion in a team, a strong team is imperative to a business's success. And something I was always told growing up in sports and in any of my career choices has always been you're as strong as your weakest link. And too often than not, I've seen business owners that will almost fill their ranks with weak candidates, and more so, they have no systems and protocols. Going back to the first issue of ensuring the growth of that individual, they bring them on almost as the donkey to carry the water to the next town, not valuing the donkey itself. And it ties into the no more assholes. Just the view of your team. Your team is your lifeblood. It's what's allowing you to be a business owner, and so you need to value that team. You need to put the effort into making sure that they're training. Like Nathan was saying, that they know the mission, that they know the overall picture and the direction that the business wants to go. And not only that, but you have ways and means of tracking that progress, letting them know that they're not falling to the wayside and that you are attentive and know more than just their name. I've definitely seen the stronger teams prevail when it comes to business. It could be a business owner that has 10 businesses, but horrible teams in all of them, and they all fail. Or it could be one business owner who's got one business and a startup, but the team internally is rock solid. It's bulletproof. And so definitely focusing on the team aspect once you've stepped out of the personal side of business. And then I would say lastly, the ability to see beyond your own nose. Again, kind of going back into, they get into this sense of entitlement without having truly accomplished what they set out to accomplish. Kind of tying back into everything we've been saying, becoming the person who you want to be now and not waiting for it. I feel like they see the business, the name, the owner draws, the company trucks, and they see that as I've made it, I'm here. And they stay stuck in this view right here, and they're not able to look beyond their nose and look beyond themselves and see that just because they're the boss, they are responsible for so much more. It's not just showing up to work, making sure the guys know what jobs to go to. It ties into everything we've been talking about. Knowing what systems you're implementing, why, how well you're practicing them, what works, what doesn't, being able to track something, a newly implemented process, to see if it's benefiting the company at all. More often than not, I see guys flood the system with leads and they don't even track where these leads are coming from. And it's, again, throwing it at the wall and hoping it sticks. And so this lackadaisical approach to business, I think it all ties into what we've been speaking about from start to finish, from the front to the end. And it's interesting on the outside looking in, being able to see, again, like how hand in hand everything is. The guy from the field to the office, from the front to the back. And so it's really neat to kind of see all these little nuances as I speak, as Nathan speaks, as Tony speaks. And you can draw the lines and connect the dots. Anyone on the outside looking in and be able to see we're repeating methods that work, and we're trying to teach the next generation of successful business owners how to be the next generation of successful business owners.
Wow. Wow, Jordan, you leave me speechless. Your growth in the time that you have been a part of our team and what you are open and willing. That's the key thing, is willing to adapt, learn, and change the way you're operating. You hit some core points, protocol, practice. And when I'm thinking about that as you were talking, I'm thinking, one of the biggest things I see business owners do is they exclude themselves from the systems. Oh, my team has to clock in and out, but I don't. Well, how are we going to job cost your time and participation as it relates to that project if you aren't willing to do it? And I see this often because contractors moving from an employment or an organization where they are a piece of it, they don't like, okay, the smaller the company, the easier it is to hide in the margins. The bigger the company, as it gets their shit together and their protocols and systems, accountability becomes key. And that's where I see people pop out of these organizations and start up their own. Oh, well, that's it. I don't want to put my TPS report in. Like, I shouldn't have to do that. I should just have to get out my van and do my work. And then they start their own company to get out of the systems that they don't like. And then they have to start growing a company, realizing, oh no, I have to have systems, but then they exclude themselves. They have this whole king of the hill perspective of like, no, it is I don't have to do it, you do. I'm the boss. Much like, our past client that was very much trying to create order without his own inclusion, his own practice. You must practice what you preach. You must do it and demonstrate it before you can expect others to deliver in reciprocity back to your organization. So that is, if I look at contractors, and I've worked with them for whatever 25, I'm not going to age myself, years. That's the biggest thing. I see them push back in terms of the systems and ways that create accountability, and then they start their own company, and then they don't have any consistency, and they sit there and they spin around in circles because they don't understand that the thing that they left the employment organization for is the very thing they're going to need to succeed. And they have this weird bipolar, is because the best organizations operate with full transparency and what I consider the circle of reciprocal action. The business owner acts as if he is the best employee, and that best employee in the organization owns and acts as if he is the owner. They steward and they switch positions even though they're in their role and responsibility. An employee that is valued, heard, and seen within an organization will start to move like an owner. And an owner that really loves their culture and their team will start to move like an employee, because they are demonstrating to each other the value that they see within each other, and they're trying to mirror each other. And so in an organization, that's what I truly see create success, is an owner that is able to act as the best employee, which uplifts the employee to act and think as if they're the owner. And then they start saving margin. They start being present. They start doing things that don't waste revenue. So eventually they can amass it and have Tony help them protect it. So that way then Nathan can help them grow it and diversify it. So I really appreciate that. And the adaptation of that is really challenging. It is why we put on the mental reset challenge to help people make what I call a quantum leap into an overnight adaptation of practicing and to implementing consistently. Because our goal as our efforts to bring more value to other companies is not to sit here and have a raw conference and have you guys come out for 1 hour and learn something, or a weekend and learn something, but I call it a step to helping them actuate it. If we're teaching you how to do the YMCA, we're going to show it to you, all of us on this broadcast. We're going to show you what it looks like to do the YMCA. But then our team, we actually will just grab your hands and start thrusting your arms up and moving you and articulating you so you can get muscle memory in how that looks like to operate with order, consistency, systems, protocol, clarity, which leads to increased performance and increased profit. So Tony, as we're talking about the 3 things that drive performance and drive success from your wealth of experience, both, and this is the thing, I believe Nathan and you were both in the military. My father was in the Navy. The military operates off of such we'll just say militant protocol.
Touch on that. I'm a retired Army officer, and it's imperative that there's a structure within the company, and it's well known to all workers and the owner, and as the owner must lead and followed as well. The there must, from my perspective, I always work to improve 1% a day. So when I come into the office, I want to show the workers and the clients that I'm improving 1% each day, Amanda. So that demonstrates that we're focused on the work, and the results constantly get better. You're not stagnant, and it improves the company. And if you strive to improve just 1% for yourself, and have the workers follow that lead, you would be surprised at the improvement in the work operations. And that also applies to our personal lives as well. We should strive to be 1% better for our spouse and family as well.
That's phenomenal. Your 1% ties into our 3Ds tool that we teach in the Matter of Mindset course when we go over the full curriculum. And the 3Ds, just in a quick overview, is 1 degree, right? So there's 3Ds: 1 degree, 1 day, by 1 decision. You can make 1 decision in that 1 day and move yourself that 1 degree that you just mentioned, Tony. So that is something that we talk about in the Mental Reset conference as we deliver the full 6 core fundamentals, and the cornerstone of that being the Matter of Mindset coursework that we go over. And that is one of the thought tools that we help people with neuroplasticity and rewiring the way they approach their business, from instead of coming at it and we'll just say sabotaging it because they don't know and they're afraid. We help them understand it and support it by being willing to admit that they don't know something. So they have to grow 1 degree every day to improvement. So super, super great information that you guys have put up today. I'd like to share with the audience a perspective of how they're able to get in touch with you guys, and as I share with them, they're going to be able to pick that information off of the, we'll just say the ticker that I have at the bottom. And as I share with them those details, I'm curious, Nathan, for you, are you able to give us an overview of what you do and how you do it in terms of the services that you offer, so they can understand? Because you've talked a lot about your perspective, the 3 killers in business: profit, and the 3 things that you find that are a value add. But what exactly do you do, Nathan? Can you give us an idea of what that looks like?
Yeah, absolutely. And a couple of things. I noticed the email address that popped up is not accurate for me. My email address is wealth@nathanuwheeler.com.
Oh, I missed the U. Let me fix that for you.
That's all right. And my website is nathanuwheeler.com. Like, you can find me there. And then also, just a couple of things before I answer that too, is I got a hard stop in 4 minutes, and I'm so sorry.
Yes.
And I know it may seem like I'm a little distracted as I've been sitting here. You guys may see me looking down. Bear with me. My wife is pregnant with baby number 5, and that will be here any minute. Like it's pretty exciting. So anyway, I just wanted to be transparent. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you so much. Now, and so here's what I do. Like, there's a lot of different things that I do. But I run a financial services brokerage. We have about 200 associates across the country, and we have direct contracts with the top 192 companies in securities and insurance. And so when we sit down with our clients, we aren't limited in scope as far as to the solutions that we can provide to anything that we're working with them on. Now, we've also have, relationships with people like Tony and CPAs and tax strategists and estate attorneys. And then here's the thing, I want to be clear about this. When we work with people, we never come in with the intent to replace anybody who they're currently working with. As a matter of fact, on the contrary, we want to work with the people that they have in place. And so that's what we do. We come in and we give a bird's eye view. We do a complete financial analysis to understand where they are. And then we find the best solutions to help make sure their goals are accomplished. Anything that's in place and working, we're going to leave it in place and working. Anything that's not working and maybe needs to get replaced, we're either going to get it working or get it replaced. And anything that they don't have that maybe they should, we'll talk about what that is and why. And so that's what I do. And now also as a certified exit planning advisor, I want to talk a little bit about that for a second, because that deals with value acceleration. Because here's the thing, we are all going to exit our business at some point, and it's either going to be on our terms or it's not. And so when I talk about certified exit planning, it's just smart business planning, right? It's accelerating the value of your organization. It's a proven process that focuses on value growth and aligning business, personal, and financial goals. So it's where the owner is and where they need to be. See, value acceleration, it's the bridge between. It's a management and life planning system focused entirely on value and income, right? And so it's grounded in action. It's not like a passive thing that we do. And so just a couple of different lanes that I operate within, again, running a financial services brokerage and helping people personally, but also as a certified exit planning advisor to make sure that we bring the big picture together. And so hopefully that answers that question.
It does. It does. And as we come to a conclusion, I wanted you to go first because I know you have a cutoff time. So I really appreciate you joining us and giving moments of clarity, some added value in this candid conversation. If you need to get in touch with Nathan, his information's on the ticker. You can also get in touch with our team and we'll get you connected. And with that said, Nathan, thank you for joining us. I truly appreciate you doing that.
It's my pleasure. I appreciate being here, and I would love to connect Tony, Jordan. I would love to connect with you guys.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
This is a conversation that is in a live forum, so they're seeing us be real humans. I've been making a bunch of notes on all the things. I've been running tickers. I've been, this is us being human. We are no different than you. We just might have some guidance that might help you, the audience, get to where you're going in a faster measure with less hemorrhage, less financial challenge. So with that said, I really appreciate that. And thank you so much. I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Tony, I'm going to have you do the same. Thank you very much, Nathan, for joining us.
Yeah. Thanks, Nathan. Thank you. Yeah. Our tax planning firm emphasizes current year tax savings rather than waiting until next year to plan out for the following year. So that's what we emphasize, is at a business and also the personal level as well. For instance, one tax tip would be to create a strong health savings account, HSAs. That is a tremendous tax savings. So that's some of the things that we do, is that we work both with individuals and businesses and yes.
Any of those things. Tony is very much a part of Bring More Value in the sense that he helps people with those very things. So you'll be able to work with him as you guys are working with us, but you want to reach him outside. I have his information on the ticker. And I want to say, Tony, for you, the amount of information that a lot of times I see CPAs and tax strategists, they know enough to have their qualifications, but they don't have the decades of know-how. And then your IRS tax audit agent side gives you a whole different perspective from being on the inside, looking at companies that are going through audits. Now you've switched fields over here, and now you're on the other side of the planning. As you guys reach out to work with Tony, I just want to share with you, he is beyond what he is appearing to be. He is somebody that I have worked with since 2016, 2015, right in there. And if it were not for him, I would not be able to share with you guys all of the values that Bring More Value has to offer, because he's been part of my growth wheel, part of my ability to adapt and operate at higher levels in terms of revenue and just competency when it comes to understanding tax codes and the credits that we're not taking advantage of, and the write-offs that we need to know more about. So if you're thinking to write something off and you're just gonna, in order not to pay taxes, you're gonna go buy a boat real quick and put a logo on it. That is not how we do things. That is not going to leverage you into a future that has exitability. And I know a lot of people do that. They'll get to the end, they have amassed some money, and then they go spend it and buy a bunch of new vans, which is outside of the plan. But that they think they have to go do that in order to not pay taxes, and that's not the case. So Tony will be able to help you guys with that. So Tony, I appreciate you joining us.
Thanks. Thanks for the kind comments, Amanda. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, and I will definitely be in touch with you to connect everybody. And
yep.
I appreciate your contribution.
I have to jump off too, Amanda.
Thank you, Tony.
So Jordan, you are what I consider the last domino, and I am very excited for the things that you and I have been working on towards the shift for people to work with you, as you are one of our junior certified value coaches that understands not only the fundamentals as you've observed, but because you are in the trench of wearing our clients' jerseys and being a gap filler within their organizations in places and spaces. So if there's things that you feel that you would like to share with the clients about something that gives them more clarity, as we're talking about moments of clarity, as to what would cause them to want to work with an organization or bring somebody in to help them with their performance, what kind of things would you share with them?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would best liken it to you wouldn't hire a lawyer to do your teeth. So when you're looking for someone that's when you're looking for somebody that's going to help you out, that's practiced these protocols, that's been able to see, we always say, learn from your mistakes. Well, thankfully, we've worked closely with plenty of other contractors that have made the mistakes that they don't have to make themselves. And so it's kind of like a cheat code book for wanting to know how to play the game and do it easier, do it in a way that's going to benefit you. And so taking what Nathan said, taking what Tony said, and just kind of putting it all together. The reason you would want somebody like us on your team, or anybody for that matter, Nathan, Tony, we've had the ability to look into businesses, see these mistakes being made at the expense of other businesses. Unfortunately, thankfully, those that turned around and were able to see their mistakes and corrective measures implemented since then. But for those who are struggling and definitely want to prevent some of these pain points from taking place in their business, I would definitely say it's something worth looking into. I would caution any business owner who's looking into either coaching or tax advice or financial planning. Again, look at yourself, have the conversation with yourself, and think very long and hard. How dedicated are you? Because your business is struggling, and not necessarily for the reasons you may think. It's struggling because you're struggling. And so if you're not able to grab it by the reins and put forth more hard work, more effort, and I'm not saying that this is the end all be all, and that by hiring or working with any experts in the industry is going to immediately make your problems go away and make it easy for you. Just like getting to the steps of being a business owner, getting to the steps of a successful business, or even leaving the business, is going to take hard work and effort, and hard work and effort that a business owner new is unfamiliar with making. They're familiar with making the hard work and effort to get to the point they're at, but as we discussed through this entire meeting, it's not going to get you there. Got you here, not there. And so it's going to take a different level of hard work, effort, and time and dedication. And the reason I say ask yourself is because it's going to start with you. If there's anything to take away from the entire meeting this time, is the same person who owns the business is the same person we're talking to directly. These changes start at the top, and they will trickle down. But don't be looking at it with the lens of, I'm going to continue behaving the way I've been behaving, and just, like I said, throw it at the wall and hope it sticks. There's nothing any of us can help you with if you're not willing to make the changes internally. we'll be just kind of looking at each other and talking about how expensive of a lunch this was. So instead of doing that,
Well, not only that, it's not only expensive lunch, and it's an expensive deflection. We had a client that we worked with that you were a part of, and we were, I think, their third or fourth consulting firm. To me, that's a pattern of an unwillingness to change. And once we got into
yes,
that organization, we realized that they were being told good advice. They were just failing to implement and be
yes,
consistent. And as we came in and we started implementation, we saw an adjustment in their financial performance in a very short period of time. I want to say about 6 weeks it took to bank their cash flow pattern. And the biggest thing is seeing that self-sabotage because they just needed to point at somebody for performance while they use the company as their piggy bank.
yes,
You're touching base on some things that are crucial, because if you're not willing to change, we're probably not the people that you want to work with, because we have extreme transparency and
right,
extreme accountability when it comes to the variables that must change in order for you to make plan and to get to a point of exit. So, but on the other case, Jordan, if the people that are watching us are like, oh my God, this is like a you know, fresh drink of water after a desert. I love this. I am willing to change. I am willing to try this. I want to know more. Well, we have great news for you, because on March 28th, we are doing a mental reset challenge. And it is what I call a cheese grater straight through, dunk in the tank, 6 hours to a new mind. It is an immersion for you to try on those shoes. You know, if you're going to buy this
right,
pair of shoes, you want to try them on to make sure you have the stomach that it is going to take to birth yourself an identity, and not just have it be in a figment of your imagination. So if you are the business owner and you're watching this saying, man, how do I change? Well, you don't have to know. You just have to join us at the Mental Reset Challenge, and we're
that's
going
right,
to show you how to change. And then we're going to give you the execution steps to your adjusted mind, to your adjusted and newly, I guess, merged identity as we clarify your visions. It is an immersive day, and it's free. That's the crazy thing. It doesn't cost you $1. It just costs you a decision, a commitment. And when you draw that line in the sand and you say, hey, I'm going to do something different and I am going to commit to it, well, then I look forward to you joining us for the Mental Reset Challenge. It is Saturday, March 28th, and we'll start bright and early at 9:30 in the morning for meet and greet and conversation before we go straight into the 6 core fundamentals. That number one, it is a cornerstone, the matter of mindset. The matter of mindset is a full toolbox of adjustments, tools, and we'll just say these tools don't exist when it comes to psychological approaches. I had to go to the fabrication shop and make these tools in order to help blue collar trades community adjust their states, because the current tools that are out there in standard practice, they really don't hit as hard and get you to stand at an attention to this now moment. So the matter of mindset is number one. Then we go straight into leadership, and oh my gosh, it is going to be like a cold a bowl of water on your face, because it's going to give you the reality of what leadership style you are and what level you are, so we could then build a track to grow your leadership to a higher level of delegation. From there, we move straight into marketing, because it is the messaging from the leader's mind about the organization. And after we finish that coursework, which is our ideation syllabus, we go straight into the implementation syllabus, and it deals with the left brain stuff, organizational structure, organizational planning. Then we move straight into management, right? Because you can have a great organization and you can have management that is a bad fit and killing the organization because of ego and other things. So we go straight into management, and then we finish it with what I consider the bookend of value, which is compensation, where we are able to share and show with you exactly how do you attract people to your organization. Not only clients and finding leads, because I see people come in to ask for help and they say, oh, I just need leads. I just need leads, Amanda. I just need more work. No, you don't. If you get more work, you're just going to go out of business faster because you're still not getting your estimates out. You can get all the leads you want and go visit everybody you want. But if you're not getting your estimates out, you're just going to go out of business faster and ruin your credibility. So we're going to go over compensation and the values that create attraction, not only for you to create a value for people to come get your services, but also, most importantly, for people within the organization and what it means to retain them, and how do you devise a plan that creates a compensation and also the retention side. So that's what we have in store for you for our mental reset challenge. Do join us. Visit bringmorevalue.com/clarity. Sign up so you can get the live stream links and you can be an active member of our Bring More Value programs that are intended to rise you to the highest level of your imagination and probably beyond when we start opening up some of the things that we want to share with you. So we really appreciate you joining us in our Moments of Clarity, a candid conversation regarding the 3 killers of profit and the 3 most valuable tips towards creating success in your business. We do hope that you would like to reach out to us and inquire. And as we are concluding this broadcast, boy, we hope you have a great Saturday. And we look forward to seeing you at the Mental Reset Challenge event. Have a great Saturday. Bye.